Hello friends, we have another
Okay, go ahead.
crazy book this month. Let me tell you, it is a page turner and what a twist at the end. My name is Debbie Catenacci and I'm with Dare to Be Curious with my co-host.
Sherrill. This is a great book. Honestly, I can usually figure out books because I write them. The Silent Patient, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I didn't see it coming. But then you go back and he did it so well.
He did it so well.
We're not
It's
going
like
to
a
tell you
Greek
too
tragedy.
much right now because you'll learn more. So stay tuned for Book Club Babes for a very fascinating read. Professional writer in the group, I was jealous because I am riveted by this book. I am in the hospital and I have hours to read it because I was in the hospital with a beloved one. But I'm like, okay, I'll just give me another minute. I'm gonna go to the end of this chapter. I mean, seriously, he did his job.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that after the reveal, which was like oh God, really? But then I went back and I thought, you know what? He planted it, but he did it so skillfully that I didn't get it. But some of his choices after the big reveal, I know it's so hard to talk about this because you viewers out there, we don't want to give the story away, but after the big reveal, he made a couple of choices that I was a little surprised by. Like, so it made me think that he actually wanted to be caught. Because why? I mean, he
On a
had
subconscious level.
yes. Because why would you? Everybody thought it was an overdose, but he said, "Oh no, it was an injection." Why did he do that?
Guilt?
And actually, guilt.
Guilt, yes.
Exactly. That was it. So the conclusion is that he actually felt guilty, although he had actually not actually killed anyone before that moment.
I don't know if it was guilt.
Oh, before, but the first.
Totally set it up, right?
I think he was just so
Yeah.
narcissistic, he thought he would never get caught. And he was just
No,
like
I-
second
Oh,
time
But he
about
also
it.
hated Christian, didn't he? He had a whole animosity
He
to that
did.
guy.
He
Yes.
did. But I thought it was more than that, actually.
Because of Kathy? Because of
I mean,
How about his parents?
well, no, well, the whole thing that
Because the therapy was
he
true,
and the
yeah.
victim, he and Alicia,
Sam.
they had such similar. They were like, she is me, I am her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This isn't really relevant to the book, it's just my own, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yes, it is.
okay, so.
Right or wrong?
Right, so this book was, are you the one for me, knowing who's right and avoiding who's wrong? And from a psychologist's point of view, there's something that she called going home. And people unknowingly, subconsciously replicate situations in their partners that are not always beneficial for them, but are familiar. So in other words, if you grew up in a household of an alcoholic parent, you might have a partner in your life that's an alcoholic. If you had an abusive parent, you might find a partner that's abusive. If you had a critical parent, your spouse or partner might be critical. So it's a subliminal psychological thing.
But you can also do the
Subconscious
opposite.
behavior. It's a
Right.
pattern of behavior.
Right,
Because
and-
what they know.
Right, it's
That's what they
familiar.
know.
Even though it's not good for you, it's familiar.
But there are those that completely reject that, though. There's that other side of that. I will never do this. I will never do this. I will never do that. I will
Right.
never be, because I was in an abusive relationship. I will never do that. So
Right.
you
Two
can go
ways
either
that
way.
Right.
What is the symbolism of the painting of Jesus?
Drawn to it, and they want to repeat the pattern to heal.
I wasn't sure.
There was a lot of symbolism in all the paintings and all the
paintings was
Eme-
symbolism, yes.
Emesisis, or I don't have the book in front of me, but there was just such a creative and artistic part of this too. I'm just wondering.
Well, she
what
told
was-
her story
Yeah.
in that painting with not saying a word.
Yeah.
Right.
If you understood, she totally told the story.
Right,
Yeah.
the guy was in there who was looking at her, that we all
Well,
thought,
yeah.
is he crazy making up the guy? that he was in there.
great
It was
thing
him.
was that somebody
That's
was
crazy.
offered a life
Yeah.
and sacrificed yours.
Work at a psychiatric hospital. And so this is my lane. So there was a lot of it. The first 10 chapters of the book were all in the hospital. So the intake meetings and all these things that I mean, I do this every
And
morning.
the breaking of the protocol,
Well,
the real life
well,
protocol.
So like when you actually work in a psychiatric hospital, there's certain HIPAA things. So there was a lot of like, in my mind as I'm watching or listening to this, and there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened in the meetings. That you just, this new therapist just shows up and then he's getting all this information. There was a lot but this is a story. But it also was really close to what I do every single day, where you're getting report on people. And so there was again, this is the second book where the last book had my father's name in it, my name, and my Charlie was, so this is another book. The first 10 chapters was all of the mental institution and all the goings-ons. And so I really connected to all that. And it took a while to get through 10 chapters of all of it. For me, it was a bit like watching ER when you work in a hospital. So by the time chapter 10 hit and then the whodunit came, I'm like, okay, game on.
Now you're interested.
She's talking.
yeah.
So like when Sherrill says he did his job, he came in specifically with a mission. But at some point in the book, there were so many character names, and I was like, "Now who's that? What's this?" There were times when
Well, there were sidelines.
and this could
Yeah,
be, and
but
this could be because I listened to books. I don't know, but there were times where I was like, "Now who's this one and who's that one?"
There was only a couple patients.
Yeah,
there
with the so there were times I got a little like, oh, I have to listen to this book again. Like by the time it was done, I was so like, this is amazing. I wanted to listen to it again, but then I couldn't get through the first 10 chapters again. But I loved the whodunit part of it. It got so exciting and riveting
Oh, it's riveting.
And then he
and surprising.
But then he
Yeah.
threw in a sideline of the issue with his brother.
He brought in characters.
Right.
Oh, no, that was a red herring, because you want to think, oh my God, was it the brother? Or
Right,
was it the
exactly.
They're trying to give you,
Yeah,
more
they're
trying to,
trying to-
they were
it
playing
was a
clues.
twist.
That's when it lost me
Oh,
a
that's
little
all
bit.
it was.
Yeah.
You know, they were interesting because you're dealing with love situations and relationships. So one of them is love that doesn't include honesty doesn't deserve to be called love.
Oh,
Remember that one?
How about
That was a
that?
good one.
How about that?
Yeah.
Look at about all the dishonesty
Oh my
and
gosh.
stuff that was going on. And that you mistake love. How many of us have done this? We mistake love for the fireworks, for the drama, for, all this, which is really dysfunction. And it said real love is very quiet, very still, kind of boring, but you don't have the high drama. No.
Right, that was Ruth, the
Yeah.
his
It's the
psychiatrist.
fireplace.
I just thought,
And it becomes boring for most people.
and you get boring and you want to have some fireworks all the time, but it's not necessarily
The fireplace.
the fireplace
Not the
instead of the
firecracker.
fireworks.
Yeah,
Good
thank
one.
you.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, maybe it's fireworks when you're 18.
Right, you want different
want the
things at
fireplace.
different
You want the
phases of your life.
Yeah.
Certain things are more.
Thinking, why does he have the right to tell her that her husband is cheating? Maybe she already knew. Maybe she knew and didn't want to know. For someone to have the audacity to make the decision on the information that, in his opinion, was so important for her to know, and to follow her and hide behind bushes. So, that's a whole nother topic of, do you tell the person, and why do you have the authority
To play God.
to play God? Or maybe she already knew but didn't want to be confronted with it. And then another backstory is like these doctors and nurses and their interplay. Like, well, I'm not gonna help your patient because you're not helping my patient, and I'm not gonna help your patient because I don't like the color of your shoes, so therefore I'm not gonna cooperate with you. So sometimes the patient's evolving into a healthy situation is held back because the psychiatrists are having their own problems in helping each other and staying on course of helping the patient. So I just thought that was an interesting backstory of how many times does that happen in a hospital or psychiatric ward where someone isn't authentically helped with integrity because there's some animosity going on in the
Between
background.
the
But it
staff.
happens in business or everywhere,
It happens everywhere.
everywhere.
Right.
But it's sad when somebody's sick.
I think our consensus, how many people liked the book?
Oh, loved it.
It's pretty much unanimous. So we thank our book club babe, Gwyneth,
It was
for
very good.
picking a winner
Thank you.
today.
I binged it fast, girl. It was a binge.
Page Turner.
Yes, it was.